Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Cantu is on the other side. Hopefully, everybody had a great and fabulous weekend. Astros split the series in Arlington is going to be the title of this episode on 259. A lot of Astro fans showed out over there at Globe Life Field this past weekend. But overall, I mean, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was great. We had a good weekend. Spent the time celebrating my niece or goddaughter as well, uh, for your birthday, but just spent time with family. It was a good chill weekend. How about yours?
Same thing, chilling with family, like you said it. That's all we can do.
And then you said a lot of Astros fans travel. We have Blackie here, Tevin, who's a friend of ours who I think made the trip to Dallas over there too. So pretty nice. Yeah, like you said, a lot of traveling Astros, and you know, you could also hear chants of "Let's go Astros" from Glow Life Field, and like a bunch of orange in the stands too. So it really stood out.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, every time the Astros go to I'm not at Dyken Park, go by field. I mean, there is a bunch of orange jerseys, a bunch of white with the Astros font in front. You see Bregman, Correa, Altuve, Alvarez, Pena jerseys in the back. I mean, you see a lot of fans that go out there and support their team. And I mean, maybe you could say the same thing with Texas whenever Ranger fans come to Houston at Dyken Park and, watch the Rangers play. But I mean, this is a rivalry because it was rivalry weekend throughout Major League Baseball. And these two teams really, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think they like each other. From the fact from 2023 that ALCS that went 7 games, Texas would obviously win that World Series. But I mean, you could just feel the adrenaline, you could feel the emotion from both sides, not just the fans, but even the players playing in this type of series.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever it's a in-state rivalry like the Rangers Astros, tensions are high, and not just for the fans, but I think the players. I think this is like they have this series circled in their calendars, and this is the one that they don't want to lose. I mean, the Astros haven't lost the Silver Boot series in quite a while. I think maybe what 2018 is the last time, around that year. But yeah, so this is a series again. I'm sure they circle the calendar. They're looking for it, and you can tell. I kind of went in saying last year that the Rangers starting pitching is ranked third in Major League Baseball, but you can tell that they were throwing a little extra juice. They really wanted this series.
Yeah, both sides obviously wanted this series. Of course, the Silver Boot Series is really huge in the state of Texas regarding Major League Baseball. But this is from the Astros, and each of the 8 past seasons, from 2017 to 2024, the Astros have won the Silver Boot Trophy, which is awarded to the winner of the Astros Rangers season series, dating back to the 2017 season. The Astros are 87 and 46 against the Rangers overall. An Astros win, which was yesterday, would even up an all-time series as Houston enters tonight's game with a 140-141 all-time record against the Texas Rangers. So, if I'm not mistaken, the record as of right now, since the Astros didn't win the series finale, it is 141 to 142.
Yeah,
But because you remember that last decade in the 2010s, I mean the Rangers, you know, they
had a great
ruled
team.
that series. Yeah, they had a great team. They're one of the best teams in the American League. They went to the World Series as well. And all of a sudden the Astros come and now the dynasty that they built, they've proven that they're the biggest team in this city. Even though the Astros were established in 1962, I think the Rangers, if I'm gonna just double check real quick when they were a franchise because remember they were the Washington Senators before. Let's see. I want to say in the 70s.
I don't know. Let me see.
Nope. It's giving me Texas Rangers as a like politics. Rangers was established in 1961 as the Washington Senators, like I had mentioned. The team then relocated to Arlington, Texas, becoming the Texas Rangers in 1972. So if you did not know that, but yes, Houston had the franchise before Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth, whatever you want to call them cities over there. But it was a great series overall. We're going to recap that series for y'all. Preview the next series going against the Tampa Bay Rays over there at George Steinbrenner Field. spring training facility
Yeah.
where the Yankees are. Hayden Wesneski, big injury news out of him. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And of course, the updates on Yordan Alvarez, because Yordan has yet cleared the IL. And I won't be surprised he'll be on the IL until maybe he comes back to Houston, which we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, could be, but first let me share where you can find us. You can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're at Full Steam Ahead. Instagram is FSA Full Steam Ahead. You can also hear us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. For the best well-rounded Astros content here. But start it off though.
Yeah, so your Houston Astros are 24 and 2020, 24 and 22. I don't know why I was going to say 2022. Sorry about that. But they are second in the American League West. And I had the standings right here, but the Texas Rangers are ranked third. They're 2.5 games back from first, with the Seattle
Yeah.
Mariners still being right there. The Oakland Athletics, and the surprising one, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that. They took the series sweep against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, we predicted it was going to be a tight race for the AL West. However, we did say it would be a four-team race, not a five-team race. With the Angels, just 6 games back, they've been playing some good baseball with the young studs out there. They did it, Yusei Kikuchi finally had a great outing in perfect timing to get that sweep against the Dodgers, and I'm sure, good things are expected over there. But for sure, this is a tight race. If you look at the other races, I think you have in the NOS, it's a 14 division, race there with the Rockies just being like completely out of, I guess out of the,
Out of the
threat for that.
contention.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But I think this AL West is kind of close compared to the others.
Yeah, it's a fight. It's going to be a dogfight, I say, all the way down to September. But it's always been like that
Yeah.
with Houston. Houston's always been in the hunt, regardless of where their spot is, and they're always trying to find a way, managing, just like in these games against the Rangers, in which we're going to talk here in just a second, clawing their back way in the division and wind up winning the division as well. You saw it against the Seattle Mariners. You saw it in that three team race for the AL West, literally for the last game in 162, to see who was going to be the division winner, who was going to go and have home field advantage, who was going to play Twins, all that type of stuff. But I think it's great for baseball too, and not just for the division, but just to show like the AL West is not a bad division. And the Rangers have won it in 23. The Astros won it in 22. Houston's gone in 21 to the World Series. The first time the American League West last year wasn't represented by any team in the Fall Classic. So it shows that this, even though it doesn't look like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, they still got a good, tough division, especially when you have, I would say, three of the teams, be including Houston, Seattle, and Texas, have a great starting rotation and an ERA just to prove that. And Houston did see that this series against the Rangers.
Yeah, I think all three, honestly, all four of their pitchers pitched excellent for the Rangers. And the fact that I was thinking after, watching the fourth game of the series, Sunday's game, it's like if you're the Rangers, I think you have a sour taste in your mouth because this was a series where they could have swept the Astros. I think, their pitching was dominant. That they're producing runs at the right time, taking advantages, of mistakes. And but if you're the Astros, you just face the Kansas City Royals, who had the second best starting pitching in the MLB. Then you went on and faced the Rangers and tied the series, won the series. I think you're looking good for the rest of the season because I think the Astros haven't played their best baseball yet, and yet being able to have a winning record in those two series with pitching, with pitching like that you probably see in the playoffs. I think that's a really good spot for the Astros.
Yeah, they saw it in Jacob DeGrom, followed by Nathan Uvalde, followed by Tyler Mahle, and then
Yeah,
Jack Leiter, who literally had the Astros in a no hitter through
yeah,
almost 7 innings.
yeah. I mean, again, like I said, four dominant like pitching outings that they saw, and the fact that they were able to,
Split
I,
it.
I want to say, yeah, steal 2 wins there. That's pretty phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. But we'll start off with game one, and we talked about it. The pitchers duel is probably going to be the first game of this series, and sure enough, it lived up to the hype. Hunter Brown going 8 innings, 3 hits, giving up that one earned run, that solo home run to Jake Berger in the sixth. No walks, 9 strikeouts. That's 3 straight outings. He's had 9 strikeouts, which is really good because, of course, when you see the Diesel, obviously he gets that strikeout per 9 innings pretty damn high. But following that, you had Jacob DeGrom on the other end, 8 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. It was a really great baseball game. If you're a baseball fan, this is a game that
Yeah.
you'd like to see because you have two dominant pitchers. One being that he's already won a Cy Young, coming back from injuries, not to mention, and still being able to go out there and dominate. That is pretty damn impressive. And then you got the other cat in
Wait,
Hunter Brown, who's shown that he's capable of being one of the aces on this team, being an ace overall, and being able to show that, hey, I could be a American League Cy Young candidate this season.
how many games did you say in a row that Hunter Brown had with 9 strikeouts?
I believe it was 3 straight games.
Five.
Five.
5 straight games dating back to his the Toronto outing. We since April 21st, he has had 5 consecutive starts with 9 strikeouts.
And it's just impressive. That's the
Yes.
type of stuff that he has. He has that swing and miss stuff, and it continues to show in each outing, like you had mentioned, 5 straight consecutive starts. Very damn impressive from the Diesel. But obviously, it did make a mistake to Berger. That was just literally enough to win that ball game. And with the Rangers, and they talked about it on the broadcast too. If you can put up 3 runs or 4 runs on the board with that pitching staff that Texas has, you could
Yeah.
win a bunch of games. And sure enough, it did show that right here against Hunter Brown and the Astros.
Yeah, and I mean they had a few chances against the Grom. I think if you look at the first 5, 6 innings, I think it was a clear cut that Hunter Brown was the better pitcher, just in that aspect. But again, situational hitting, he actually did leave 7 men on base, 0 for 3 in runners scoring position, too. So it's like, and then a big thing that we're gonna talk about is 2 out hitting, and then but in game one, I mean, the Grom almost pitched a complete game, and he was able to fight his way out some trouble. Like he had a Dubon, Zenso, and Myers. They were both left with 2 outs in that situation. So just being able to get the final out, escaping danger, was really the difference maker in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, let's move on to game two with the Astros winning 6-3. And like you mentioned, 2 out hitting was huge in the seventh inning because Nathan Uvalde had this team on they just couldn't hit. They just couldn't hit against Uvalde. They were scoreless through 16 straight innings that they couldn't
Yeah.
bring 1 run in. And that's credit to the pitching staff over there at Texas. They did a really good job keeping the Astros hitters on off balance and everything like that. But the
I
Astros
would
were go ahead.
go ahead. I would say this. Uvalde, has usually have the Astros number, but the Astros did a great job of making him work.
Yes.
Uh, when last podcast, I said that he's only allowed 4 walks in the entire, since opening, since his first start of the season, he had 3 walks this series. And the fact that they only allowed Uvalde to go 5 2/3, that's that just shouts out to the Astros, lineup for again making him work, making him make some tough pitches and all that good stuff.
Yeah, 5 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, like you had mentioned, and 5 strikeouts. And this is a team that they've seen Uvalde multiple times postseason, Texas, Boston. I mean, Uvalde is one of the best postseason pitchers, I will say, in I'm also gonna say in postseason history. He's really clutch when it comes to that time. And like I said, the Astros have seen him multiple times, and sure enough, they got to him in the seventh inning with that 6 run points on the board. All runs scored with 2 outs, like I had mentioned. Jake Myers with a 1 out single. Cam Smith double scoring Jake Myers in left center, and then Jeremy Pena with the walk. Jose Altuve with the walk. Isaac Paredes, my God, what a series this guy had. And this
Yeah.
he's barely brand new to this series. Same goes for Christian Walker. Real quick, Paredes with that RBI two-run single actually to the right side, and then Christian Walker putting a little cherry on top with that three-run home run to left. I mean, as soon as you saw the ball leave the bat, you knew it was gone, and sure enough, gave the Astros a little bit more insurance runs and gives them a cushion at that time. It was 6-2. Have you seen their little celebration, by the way? Not to mention
Yeah,
that. No, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's sodas, but in
yeah,
my opinion, I think it might be some little cervezas on it.
yeah. I think Christian Walker is up better bag fans of tequila or
Tequila.
whatever alcoholic beverages they prefer. But yeah, I did see their celebration. But honestly, that Christian Walker home run, Globe Life Field plays huge. It has a big outfield, but that was a no doubter out of Christian Walker. I think the sound of the bat, just the bat speed, the takeoff velocity. It was a no doubter.
Yeah, and then it was a sinker inside, and sure enough, he pulled his hands through and sent it to left field. When you see a lot of balls hit that direction too, you automatically think it's either a warning track at the wall or obviously over the fence. I mean, you can date back all the way in 23 when Jose Altuve hit that crazy go-ahead home run in, I think it was game 5 against the Texas Rangers. But like I said, the Astros would eventually score 6 runs in the 7th inning. Josh Hader did give up a home run, and that time too, the bullpen had a scoreless inning streak. I think it was 21 games. I mean, 21 innings that they've pitched out of the bullpen and has yet to allow a run. Well, Josh Young would be able to just clear that off. Got that home run to the opposite field against Josh Hader. But other than that, Astros did win that game 6-3. And moving on to game 3.
Well, the thing with Josh Hader is he's been perfect for the Astros. This entire season, and the thing with baseball is it's not gonna let you. The game's not gonna let you be perfect the entire time. Like as pitchers, you're gonna give up your singles, your hits, and Josh Hader's he's due for allowing a run, but the fact that it happened in a 6-2 game, that's the point where you want it to happen, not when it's a 5-4 game, 1 run score. So I think it was like that was really good at getting that one out of the way and just continues Josh Hader to be excellent throughout the rest of the day. Again, I mean he's Josh Hader's facing professional hitters, so when he does allow runs, you want it to be with a cushion of like maybe 3 runs, 2 runs, so that way it doesn't really hurt. It's like no harm, no foul on that one.
Yeah, Houston's just done a really good job. Just specifically the bullpen continue to be one of the best in Major League Baseball. Had a 269 going into that game on Friday night. Um, and with Josh Hader, Brian Abreu, Brian King, Stephen O'Kerr, I mean, everybody has stepped up in a huge way. And being able to be dominant in the bullpen gives Joe Espada a lot of confidence. If he has to pull out, let's say Ronel Blanco, or he has to pull out uh Framber Valdez, he has confidence in his bullpen enough that he has guys out there that are dogs and that could come out of that bullpen and be able to put a goose egg on the board for Houston Astros.
Absolutely.
Yeah, going to game 3 real quick. Another L for the Astros, 5-1. They will lose that game. Ronel Blanco was on the bum. He did get a quality start though. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 92 pitches. 59 were strikes. Another quality start in the book, like I had mentioned. I want to say number like 4 out of his last 5 starts have been quality starts for him. So he's done a really
I agree with that.
impressive. Yeah, go ahead. He's really done an impressive job as of late. And the Astros one lone run came in the 1st inning with a Christian Walker 2-out RBI double to right center. And when I saw that, honestly, I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, wow, because you had mentioned in the preview in the last episode that Tyler Molly has only given up 2 earned runs in his couple of starts. And I'm
Mm.
like, wow, and there's a chance that Houston could break that. And as soon as it's that first run on the board in the 1st inning, I was like, man, they have a great chance of at least putting another run or possibly 3 earned runs on Tyler Molly. But sure enough, he was able to be calm, collective, and would pitch 6 innings for the Rangers and get them out of a jam. Offense would obviously help them with the Jock Peterson home run.
Yeah, it's Ronel Blanco's third consecutive quality start. He has 4 in total this season.
Yeah, he's just done a really good job as of late. I would say in his last 5 starts, he's looked really good. I mean, the walk rate, of course, we said if it's 3 or above, you could be looking at some trouble. But I mean, did a really good job, kept him off balance. mixes pitches really well against a good and hitting team like Texas. And sure enough, I mean, the Rangers would end up getting to him. At the same time, though, can't always be perfect. And at the end of the day, too, Houston's offense does have to step up in that
Yeah,
game. That's another thing we'll talk about with when it comes to overall thoughts.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, Blanco gave him a chance, but just shout out to the pitchers on the other side. Like they have some, like they're in a row right now, like all starters. You know, but like you said, the Astros at the end of the day, they're professional hitters on the other side. They get paid to hit, excellent pitching too. So scoring, they need to be able to score more than one run um, against any pitcher, I guess.
Yeah, and they did a really good job in game four. Before we get to Framber Valdez, I mean, Jack Leiter was on fire.
Yeah.
Pitched a hell of a game against Houston. Mixed his pitches, hit his spots. He just looked really good. He looked comfortable on the mound
Do you
against
want
the Astros too.
do you want the stat line for Leiter?
Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. It's
Oh,
right
no.
here. He
And
pitched seven innings, 3 hits, he was responsible for those runs, so it's 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. But I don't think that stat line does him justice because he pitched an excellent game.
yeah, he gave that home run to Yainer Diaz, who broke the no hitter and the shutout. Uh, I would say what in the sixth inning, if I'm not mistaken, they hit
Yes.
that home run. So yeah,
No, seventh inning.
seventh inning, correct? Yeah. So credit to Yonder too. He made him work in that at bat. I don't know if you saw that. Made him work. I think it was like 7 or 8 pitches he had thrown in that at bat against Diaz, and sure enough, Diaz loves that high pitch, and he went with it. Took it to right center to the Rangers bullpen. Got the Astros on the board. But other than that, I mean, credit where it's due. And Jack had a really good start against the Astros. Like I said, makes his pitches really well, hit his spots. I will say though, the home plate umpire in this game was tremendously bad for both sides. And you
I
saw that
mean,
from Joe Espada and Bruce Bochy, but Joe Espada had he got tired of it, and it was an early exit for him in the third.
I would say this. I think home plate umpires have one of the most difficult jobs of calling balls and strikes. So when it's one of their off days, you just help us for both sides and not just one sided. And you know that that's just baseball at that point. They usually have to adjust it up. But yes, some calls were not really close. I think Joe Spot did get his money's worth for that ejection too. So, but because that slider was be, like way below the
That was
knees.
like ankles, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you saw Bruce Bochy was already kind of upset about it from the beginning, and then Joe Espada saw that with that horrendous. Honestly, it was a horrendous call. It wasn't even not even close to bad. It was just horrendous. There's no way that
Mhm.
is a strike, and that's another thing that players do love is seeing your manager step up and have your back, and it was gonna kind of hurt Framber maybe in a way because Framber Valdez pitches his sinkers and his curveballs very low. It couldn't hurt
Yeah,
on his side of it, but Joe Spotter protecting his hitters, especially a guy that Paredes who has great at bats and puts up quality at bats every time he steps into the box. And like I said, third inning, Spotter was gone. Like you said, Angel got his money's worth. And but we'll go with Framber Valdez real quick. He had a good night in the office. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. 98 pitches were thrown. 69 of them were strikes. Framber looks like he's getting back into that form as he was in 2022. 3 straight quality starts, 3 straight starts as well. He's pitched through 7 innings. You'd like to see that longevity from a starting pitcher. Save some of them bullpen arms, then you don't have to use them. But did a really good job. Of course, he did give up 3 earned runs, but they were all singles. They weren't a lot of extra base hits. And give credit to the Rangers too, making that adjustment the second time around. First time they couldn't get nothing going, but the second time they started figuring him out. Jake Berg got a hit, as well as Wyatt Langford got a hit. I mean, they did a really good job, but then Framber, of course, made his adjustment and went 7 innings strong. Without that inning of letting them guys hit some singles and getting the RBIs, it would have been a perfect stat line for him.
yeah. Uh, just to get the comments out the way, can we get some info on Yohan's coming back? We'll have some updates on that later. But uh, talking about Framber Valdez, yes, an amazing start with him, and I think that's just like you're right. I agree with you when he said that he's found his groove, found his rhythm. The thing with Framber Valdez is that he does have an inning or two when he does get out of his usual self, and when that happens, you do. If you're an Astros fans or Astros, you do hope it's with limited damage, and this probably was three, but the fact that he was able to bounce back and it's like a little switch. Is he's good, messes up a little bit, but then turns that switch back on, and you know that's the thing you want as a pitcher. Like yes, as a pitcher, you're getting outruns. It's just the way you come back from that. And Framber Valdez showed, a true ace mentality there, being able to come back from adversity.
Yeah, I mean Jake Berger only had the 2 out RBI. Like I said, everything was singles for the Texas Rangers. How they scored their runs. It was no extra base hits. It wasn't a long ball. So it was good to see that that didn't happen for Framber, and he was able to not get irritated or get like out of his groove, and being able to get back on track and stay in the moment. And sure enough, he went 7 innings. Like I said, it was a really good outing for him, even though he did give up 3 earned runs. So how did the Astros came back in this game? Well, Chris Martin came out of the bullpen, threw one pitch, and unfortunately, he got hurt. I think Bochy said after the game it was shoulder discomfort for him, so hopefully a speedy recovery for Mr. Martin. So of course they had to get the bullpen hot. With something like that, usually the umpires let the opposing, not the opposing team, but the team that had the injury, let them work and whatever time that they need.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when those runners on first and second, Jeremy Pena comes and pitch hits for Brendan Rodgers. And you're in a good position if you're an Astros fan. You're looking at it, you're like runners on first, second, no outs, especially in one your hottest hitters is coming off the bench to hit in this type of situation. Well, it didn't go really planned in the beginning. Pena pops up and Jose Altuve pops up as well. So now you have Esau Paredes
Uh,
coming to the plate.
it was Mauricio Dubon hits.
Oh, Dubon. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it wasn't a
Talking about
pop. It was like
the
a
pitcher.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, my fault. That is my mistake. But anyway, Esau Perez comes with 2 outs, and like I said, puts up a good at bat. And I'll be honest with you, dude. I did not think it was going to be a home run as soon as I saw it because it kind of looked like he lunged a little.
Hmm.
But hey, that ball, I'm telling you, that ball just travels over there at Globe Life like nothing. At the end of the day, the distance was like 350, and
Hmm.
he hit it just over the 334 dimension sign over there in left field, just outside of the glove of Wyatt Langford. Wyatt, he almost made a
Yeah,
badass catch. But like I said, would miss it. Paredes will hit that 2 out, 3 run homer to give the Astros the 4-3 lead. Next thing you know, Omar Lopez, who was the bench coach subbing in for Joe Espada during that time, quickly got Brian Abreu up and hot. And then obviously Josh Hader would come in and close the game. But what can you say about this guy, man? Like I said, when we're talking about who should look at extensions for this young, I won't even really say young team, but you got some young cats on this roster for the Astros and Hunter Brown, Spencer Rigetti, Yiner Diaz, Isak Paredes, Jerry Pena. I mean, when you look at that, then how can you not want to sign a guy like Isak who's shown quality at bats, great play discipline, can show that he loves being in the moment when the lights are shining as bright as they can on him. Had a walk off, not to mention during that week too at Dyken Park. So, I mean, what can you say about the way Paredes has been playing and kind of showing Houston like, hey, I can be that next generational third baseman for the Houston Astros for years to come.
yeah, and the thing that Isaac Paredes has is he's cool under pressure. He's clutch. He's had 47 plate appearance, 40 at bats, I would say, with runners in scoring position, and he's had 14 hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs. He's walked 6 times and has a 350 batting average and 1,022 OPS with runners in scoring position. So this is a guy that has been playing as advertised. I said, like this is his first home run for the Astros this season. That's not in Dyken Park, and
Yeah.
when you can hit it like that, I mean, like you're confident he can hit it home runs anywhere, and it's just adding to the thing. And the fact that Joey Espada trusted him in the leadoff spot paid big dividends because that's literally, again, down to their final out in that inning. You talk about us being able to turn that changeup around to a 350 missile down the line. That's, and when I did see that first ball, again, I agree with you. I didn't think it was gonna go over, but it seemed like a hit. It seemed like a double, but it's just it barely climbed over that wall. But it's a home run in the books, but it was a shot.
Yeah, that's a double decker in the books if you want to go a little bit more deep detail. But the Astros only had 4 hits in this game, and that's just the beauty of this game of baseball, man. I mean, Rangers 3 runs, 7 hits. Astros 4 runs, 4 hits. You can
And
just win baseball games like that, and the Astros have done, I would say, done a lot of comeback in a season that I've yet to seen them do in the past seasons.
and the thing is, Isaac Paredes' home run to get this would have been a home run in only 20 out of 30 ballpark.
I mean, Dyken Park has to be on that list.
Of course,
Of
of
course, it
course.
has to be on that list.
And then what like you said that Omar Lopez quickly got Brian Abreu ready, but that was pretty sketchy out pitching performance by Brian Abreu. Uh,
Yeah.
when he came out for that, literally all the outs that he recorded were hit above 100 miles an hour. But the fact that Omar Lopez was, put his all defensive lineup in really paid big dividends there because Wyatt Langford's lineup to get the first out there was 106.2 off the bat, but Chad McCormick read it well. Josh Jung's out 104 miles per hour, and then Jonah Hines.
Yeah, that
Uh,
ball, honestly, dude, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I thought that ball
no, go
was
ahead.
gone. I thought it
I
was
thought so.
gone because as soon as
I
it left
thought
the
so too.
bat, man, it made some good contact.
And then that's the shortest wall over there at Globe Life Field. So if you're gonna hit a home run that barely scrapes by, that's the spot. Towards the bullpen. That was 103.9 miles per hour, and that would have been a home run in one other ballpark,
Which is that one.
Angel Stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Well, they have the yellow line over.
Hmm.
It's not that big old wall that has to be up
Yeah.
there to make it a home run. But just to you make a good point about this Rangers, eighth inning against Abreu. It was almost like in game one for the Astros. They hit a lot of balls in the gap, but the Rangers defense just did a
Yeah.
really good job tracking the ball down. I know Adolis Garcia made some good plays for them in right. I know Evan Carter tracked the ball down in a right center gap. So the ball, I think the ball just like sits in the air for a good while at Globe Life Field. I don't know. I
What
think
it,
that's just me, but I just have a
especially
feeling.
especially with the roof closed. I mean, there's no natural force acting on it. Like for example, when the roof's open, you have the wind, that kind of sprawls in,
Mhm.
can change the altitude or the distance of the bomb. But I feel like it's a dome, it's a retractable roof too, and it's like there's no natural force, so that ball's going to travel into, obviously gravity pushes it, downwards. But yeah, balls be flying. But I guess maybe that was the key why that field is so big too, because I feel like that's a lot of outfield compared to a Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, honestly, for the Astros splitting the series, I think it's a win for them because
Yeah,
they saw 4 great starting pitchers, like we had mentioned in the beginning, and being able to take 2 coming back from behind
yeah.
wins. It just continues to show this team has resiliency, and they're not going to give up no matter what the score, how big it is, and all that. And they just have done a phenomenal job doing that this season.
Yeah, and get this. I was hearing the radio broadcast, because I had a game while this game was going on, and the Astros this season haven't scored in the first through 5 innings 17 times this season. So, in 17 times they've been blanked from the first inning to the fifth inning. And this Sunday's game, it was a comeback from behind win. This is the 13th come from behind win this year for the Astros. So the fact that just going with what you're saying, that being able to come back now. The only thing is that's not sustainable for the Astros. Like you're gonna see teams with elite bullpens, and it's gonna be hard to hit off them. I think the fact that they're not scoring in the first to 5 innings, that's a problem that might be, you know, affecting them later in the season. So I think they need, like once they can clean that up a little bit, then it makes those wins easy. Because honestly, like how I said earlier in the beginning, if you're the Rangers, you have a sour taste in your mouth because this was a series you could have swept.
Yep.
You had the lead in every single game in in all the four games this series, and the fact that you only got two. Shout out to the Astros for again, like you were saying, those comeback wins, but you know, they pl- they they played well. If it wasn't for one or two hits by the Astros, then they played well. But again, like you said, if you're the Astros, you're excited about this series because again, four elite pitchers and you took two. That's great stuff there.
Yeah, and I was just gonna add on too the Houston offense and not scoring in the first game and then being 16 scoreless innings straight going into game two and now getting that 6 run inning in game two. Just think about it. They didn't get that 6 runs. There's 2 outs. Texas just needed 1 out to get out of that inning. And Houston would have been zero. It would have been zero in game two. They only scored one in game three. And in game four, they were getting no hit 7 straight innings by Jack Leiter. So it kind of shows like the capability that this offense has with good players like an Altuve, Pena, Paredes, Walker. I mean, I can go on. The Astros are struggling right now, I would say, even though they did split the series, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They are still struggling, I would say, in the offense category.
Yeah, and the fact that they're still in second place with a struggling offense, that just shows, their
Without
grit,
Yordan
tenacity.
Alvarez, too.
Yeah. Again, that shows two things. Their grit and tenacity, like I said, but how great the starting pitching has been. Like and the bullpen like I think they've been able to win a lot of close games out. I wonder if I can get the like, exact number of like those close margin victories there, but they have a lot of close ones just because of how great the bullpen is.
Yeah, they've done a really phenomenal job. But let's finish off our
Oh,
overall.
actually, in one run games they're 5-6, and 2 run games are 6-5.
So they've done it. Honestly, they've done an impressive job being in them close kind of games because you would have told me this 2 seasons, I would have not agreed with you because they were kind of struggling during these close games um, and close situations. So to finish off overall thoughts real quick, like we had mentioned, the comeback kids. I mean, Houston just has done a really good job this season. Like Angel gave you that stat. They've done really good coming back from behind and being able to win those type of games. Shout out to Houston for that. We'll put a little negative in here. The Astros defense did have 4 errors this series. I know in game three, they had 3 errors from Jerry Pena, Esau Paredes, and Christian Walker, as well as Pena making a throwing error to Brendan Rodgers in one of these games. Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown, your 1 and 2 punch. A phenomenal job in this series against Texas. Like we mentioned, DeGrom, Evaldi, Molly, Leiter. Obviously, Leiter's not going to be the stud in this rotation, but he did a really good job keeping Houston off balance. But being able to have Brown go out there, even though he did pick up the loss, that was a tough one to swallow, and still put
Yeah,
up a good fighting chance for Houston to come and score at least maybe 1 or 2 runs. It shows that he's still out there. And now you're looking at Framber Valdez, and you're like, man, he looks like he's getting back on track to what he was doing back in 2022. So that
yeah,
is a very positive sign to see from both your ace. I mean, really, both of them are aces. Your 1-2 punch in this series, go out there and pitch a good game against a good team like Texas.
yeah. And Framber was pitching on 5 days rest. I know they're in a 6-man rotation, so he was supposed to pitch on 6 days. So he was actually supposed to pitch Monday because I think Sunday was TBA. But pitching on regular day rest and being able to perform when his number was called because again he didn't know he was pitching Sunday or Monday. But for Framber Valdez, I don't think it matters as long as whenever he's on the mound, he's gonna trust his stuff to get him out. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep, and that's what he did. And last but not least, the Astros 2 out hitting. I think they've done a really good job this season in 2 out situations with
Yeah.
runners and I would say runners in scoring position, but guys in different scenarios, first and third, first and second, second and third, runners on third, either and second. They've just done a really good job being able to pass the baton to the next guy and letting him bring him in. And next thing you know, pass the baton again and get the other guy involved. So they've done a really good job doing that this season. You just hope that continues to carry on throughout the whole season, even though it's been already a third of the season has been finished and finalized. You still got half of it and you still got to finish strong at the end of it. And I think Houston's just done a really good job with 2 out hitting situations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, this is what they're missing last year. I think Yeah, I was going to say the past 2 years, again, being able to get that runners on with 2 outs, I think for the most part, I would say the Astros were in the like below 500 category on that, but they've done a really good job. And like I said, the numbers we talked about is I think he's one of the big reasons there too that they're able to come in clutch just because he puts up great at bats. He's not afraid to give his other like the other guys a chance, and when he does come up big, he brings in a few RBIs.
Yeah, I would add this real quick, and it's funny to me because they do a really good job at 2 out hitting, but when you look at it on paper with the stats, bases loaded, they're batting a buck something with bases loaded. Or you got runners in scoring position. Sometimes I mean, not even sometimes, they struggle with guys in, runners in scoring position. And being able to do good and with 2 out hitting, it just shows it's funny about baseball. That's what I'm saying.
So I guess if you're an Astros fan, you're helping the Astros don't know the bases, so runs can score. Okay. But I guess time for our pitching preview. Again, the Astros will go travel to George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa Bay for a 3 game set with the Tampa Bay Rays, who, again, because of Hurricane Milton, they will not be playing at Tropicana Field. They messed up the roof, but you know they're still doing playing good baseball in Tampa Bay. It's again a 3 game set. Monday's matchup is a 6:05 start time with left-handed pitcher Colton Gordon making his second career start versus Ryan Pepoit. Gordon again is 0-0 with a 6.23 ERA versus Kansas City in his first career start. He did pitch 4 and a third innings with 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And what a biggest thing we did talk about him is that he kept the Astros in the game, and I think that's what they're looking for this time around. They don't expect him to throw 6, 7 innings. I mean, that'll be I think a blessing in disguise for the Astros if he can do that. But I think they just want him to keep the Astros in the game. Against Kansas City, he did throw 85 pitches, 38 fastballs, 23 sweepers, 12 sinkers, 7 changeups, 5 curveballs. Now, obviously, Tampa Bay has you know film on him already. Like, you could kind of get an idea what he throws. So what I'm thinking, again, I could be totally wrong, but what I'm speculating is that he might throw a little bit more sinkers this time. He did throw a sinker 12 times, like I said, and hitter Swift on it 25% of the time. So it's a pretty good sinker. When he did throw it, I I don't think he completely stops throwing the sweeper because again that's his strikeout pitch, but I think he mixes in a little bit more sinkers there to get hitters off his fastball. Uh, Ryan Peeple's going to be on the other side. He is 2-5 with a 3.93 ERA. This is the only pitcher the Astros will see with a ERA lower than 4. So, I mean, if they can get him, I think they can get the other. So versus Toronto, he did pitch 6 innings, 6 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Ryan Pepoit has had a quality start in 4 of his 5 previous outings. Um, he has a 5 pitch arsenal with a fastball, changeup, slider, cutter, and curveball. However, he leans a little bit more on the fastball, changeup, slider. Not afraid to throw it to any hitter. Left-handed or right-handed, cutter, curveball. He throws those depending on matchup. He does have an elite changeup though. It's 97% run value on the changeup. Opponents are hitting 138 on it and has a whiff rate of 29.9 whiff rate. Whenever he gets some 2 strike pitches and stuff, like 2 strike counts, he doesn't try to get you with that changeup. And that's his best pitch because out of the 3 pitches, like I said, he throws fastball, changeup, slider. The change is the best one because the fast one slider opponents are hitting above 300 on those pitches. So look for a lot of changes this outing for Ryan People.
Real quick, I'm looking for a good outing for Colton Gordon. Got his feet wet against a good Kansas City Royals lineup. And I mean, I think this was, I mean, the Royals lineup is better than I would say Tampa Bay. I'm not going to say Tampa Bay is bad, but when you got like MVPs on that other side of the team, I think this is going to be a good little matchup for him just to see what he can do. I know there's some lefties on that team as well, being Jonathan Aranda, Brandon Lowe's another one. So it'll be interesting to see how he pitches in his second MLB start of his career. I think, like I said, Jeter is already gone. You already got your first start out of the way. Really excited to see what he comes out to in his second start against the Rays.
Absolutely. Again, and the Astros are going to need him to go at least 4-5 just because for Tuesday's game, again, 6 to 5 start time there too. But for the Astros, it's TBA. Now, originally, Ryan Gusto was, you know, kind of like, okay, he might throw Sunday, we're speculating on that, but Gusto pitched 30 innings. I mean, sorry, pitched 30 pitches on Saturday. So
Mm,
I'm not sure if he didn't pitch Sunday. I don't think he'll pitch Monday. If he pitches Monday, then it's a no go for him to pitch Tuesday, right?
mhm.
So I honestly don't know. I mean, if you want to help me out here, I really don't know who's gonna start for Tuesday because again, Kuso pitched 30 pitches on Saturday. I'm thinking maybe AJ Blueball could be an option there, but I don't know how comfortable the Astros are gonna be tossing Colton Gordon and AJ Blueball back to back. That's two rookie pitchers there. I mean, but they're gonna have to, I think, so because Gusto's a rookie too. I doubt it'll be a bullpen game just because it is a 6-man rotation, so you have one less reliever to work with there. So Hunter Brown's is scheduled to pitch Wednesday, so it's I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards Gusto maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Blueball makes another start.
It could be looking at Gusto, even though he did pitch Saturday, Sunday, he didn't pitch. Like you
Mhm.
said, more than likely, in my opinion, I think he's not going to pitch on Monday. So there's a good, I won't say strong, but there's a good possibility maybe Gusto does still be able to pitch Tuesday and could potentially maybe pitch 4 or 5 innings, just
Yeah.
depending on his pitch count where it's at. I do like the case that you have say AJ Blueball could be an option, but at the same time too, we would have to see who Houston's gonna
Yeah.
as the transaction, who's gonna be the guy to go down to AAA while he comes back up. So
Well, can it? Well, uh, if Hayden Wesneski gets placed on the 60 day IL, wouldn't that open up a spot?
I believe so. So yeah, that could be that can be honestly that could be an option.
Well, no, because he's already in a 40-man roster. I would open up a spot there, but there's still 26 men on the roster, so someone would have to get demoted back to AAA. I don't mind.
And maybe you see Cesar Salazar. Maybe you see him get it
Or
back
could be Colton Gordon too, because I don't think he'll pitch
that
it.
too as well.
Yeah, so if it is AJ Blue, then you would see. I would say you see Colton Gordon move back to the minors.
I think it's gonna be Gusto though. I just still
I think so
like I
too.
said, I think it's a good chance that he's still gonna pitch. 30 pitches may seem a lot, but with
Yeah,
2 days rest, I think he'll be fine being able to go out there. Like I said, he would probably pitch maybe to the fourth or fifth inning, just depending on where his pitch counts at.
yeah, absolutely. But again, but like I said, I'm leaning Gusto too, but we'll just wait and see because I don't know if we actually going to use it Monday, which I doubt it, right? Because I mean, if he is scheduled to pitch Tuesday, but I mean, he pitched Saturday when he was supposed to project, Sunday, so we'll see. But they'll be going against whoever is on the mound for the Astros will be going against Littell, who is 3-5 with a 4.31 ERA. However, he did pitch pretty well against Toronto his last outing. I pitched 7 1/3 of an inning, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. This is a guy that throws has a 5 pitch mix. Now this is the order of most thrown: slider, split finger, fastball, sinker, sweeper. So he throws a lot of off speed.
Mhm.
Uh, Littell has thrown 271 sliders, which is 35% of the time. Split finger 177 times, fastball 170, and sinker 109. However, the reason why he throws his fastball, but his slider a lot is because it works, and he has a opponent batting average of .288. However, his fastball has been pretty good, although it's not a blow you by fastball. The opponent batting average on his fastball is .171, and then the opponent batting average on his split finger is 2.259 there. So he also has a 22.9 whiff rate on the split finger. So that's going to be his bread and butter pitch to get guys out, especially ground outs or strikeouts.
I will say this: you did say with people, yeah, the ERA 3 something 393. I think you had mentioned, and then you're gonna see nothing but guys that are over about a 4 ERA. Don't let that fool you, I would say, because Zach Little has done a really good job against the Astros. He's 2-0 with a 230 ERA and 3 starts against Houston. And he's only allowed max out of them 3 starts. He's only allowed 2 earned runs being the most. One start going 2 earned runs. Another start, he almost went 6 innings. And he only gave up 1 run. And then he had a game that he threw 5 innings and gave up 1 hit and 1 earned run. So, yes, the ERA could fool you and everything like that, but Houston has shown its years and its seasons
Yep.
with guys like this. No offense to them, but it's a joke. But make them look like a Cy Young pitcher.
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason his ERA is elevated is because he had two rough outings early on against the Angels and the Rangers, where he with the Angels he allowed 7 runs, and with the Rangers 5 runs. But again, that was like 6, 7 outings ago.
Hmm.
Since that last start against the Angels, where he did allow 7 runs, he's pitched against these teams: Boston, Arizona, San Diego, New York, Yankees, Milwaukee, and Toronto, and he has not got an outing where he's allowed more than 3 runs, and he's had one, two, three, four, 5 quality starts in those outings. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, like you're right, put it right down the coffee. Don't get fooled by that ERA. This is a pitcher who can get out. It's not gonna get a lot of strikeouts, but uh, when you have a mix of a slider, split finger, a bunch of ground outs,
loss
fly
off
outs,
contact.
yeah, there too. So again, don't be fooled. But again, but thank you for bringing that up, though, because you do make a good point. On Wednesday, the Manatee 12:05 start time. Hunter Brown versus Tosh Bradley. Brown again 6-2. Second loss was kind of tough again, like you said. It was against the Rangers, pitching 8 great innings. He has a 1.43 ERA. If you were if you were absent for the first half, I guess I'll read the stats against Texas. He did pitch 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts. We did say that that was Hunter Brown's fifth consecutive start with 9 strikeouts. And the biggest thing that I'm gonna keep talking about is how great his fastball's been. His fastball right now, opponents are hitting .076 on the fastball, and that's just because again he reaches 99 miles per hour. I think he's touched 100 once or twice,
Hmm.
uh, but he has a really great pitch to complement that. That's a knuckle curveball where opponents are hitting 208 there. His pitching run value is at 100, and Brown has gone 17-6 with a 2.22 ERA in 31 starts while posting 25 quality starts since May 15, 2024. So again, he's just been cruising as for a whole year now, basically.
Yeah, they don't call him the Diesel for nothing. He throws
Mhm.
that fastball damn fast, and he does a really good job with it. Like you said, the opponent batting average, my God, it's not even a buck. It is cents. It's 76 cents.
Yeah,
And he's just done a really good job. Even I forgot to mention too that start against Texas, that was his first career complete game, and it was a
yeah,
good game against a good pitcher in Jacob Degrom. So Brown has looked really good in making a good case for the Cy Young, even making a great case for his first career All Star bid. So if he, like I said, if he continues to pitch the way he's been pitching, you're going to see him in Atlanta and could potentially see him have some hardware at the end of the season.
absolutely. He's only allowed 5 hits off that fastball, 33 strikeouts with that fastball too. So it's just been unbelievable. And then he will be squaring off against Tosh Bradley on the other side, who's 3-3 with 4.80 ERA. Versus Miami, he did get hit pretty hard. He did pitch 4 innings, allowed 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, six strikeouts. It was his shortest outing of the season. So again, don't get fooled with that ERA because Tosh Bradley has been pitching pretty good too. He
Mhm.
does have a 4 pitch mix, a fastball, split finger, cutter, curveball. He will use the fastball a lot as well too. Yeah, and besides the Miami Marlins pitch, Taj Bradley had a 4 consecutive starts of allowing 3 runs or less too. So, like what Littell, he's only been roughed up 2 starts. Other than that, he's pitched pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Houston's done a really good job against him though. Looking at his stats real quick against the Astros, the shortest one he's pitched was 3 innings and a third. The highest he's ever gone through in innings is only five.
If
So,
I
like I said, three
if,
starts. Second one's 4 and a third. Just to throw that one out there.
if I remember correctly, did Taj Bradley make his major debut against the Astros, or was he like a rookie when he
He was
pitched
a
the
rookie
first time?
when he pitched against Houston.
Okay,
I don't think he made his
yeah,
debut against the Astros, but I know for sure he did pitch against him in his rookie season.
okay, so that's probably right. Yeah, that's probably right.
But yeah, like you said, don't let that number fool you for sure. Because, like I said, and it's not to say in a like a mean way or anything like that, but for some reason, Houston makes pitchers like that look like Cy Young Award winners. But
Yeah,
it's a good series
but
for
I
the Astros to go against these guys, though.
Absolutely. I think with the Rays, they have a history of finding these guys that nobody knows about who chunk high 90s, fastballs and have great spin rates and just gets people out. So, it's not going to be an easy matchup there. So we'll see what happens. But I think what many people are waiting for is the Astros injury updates. And there's two big ones. Yordan Alvarez, Hayden Wesneski. So since we did have a question of, Yordan, which is again, I'll go back to this question. I guess I'll start with Yordan Alvarez. And this is per China Rome. He did have a question exchange with Joe Espada. China Rome did ask, is this going slower than anticipated? Joe Espada responded, and I quote, I just want to make sure it completely goes away. We don't want it to go back to where if he feels something again, we have to restart this whole process again. Channel Rome responds, he's still feeling it? Joe Espada says, it's there, but every day feels better. Before I do my take on it, what's your take on this question, like on this exchange between Channel Rome and Joe Espada?
Man, I don't know. It's kind of when you read it, it's kind of confusing because there's one day that you said he's getting closer, and Joe Spada did mention this. He's getting closer to coming back, and it's like almost any day. But now this whole series against the Rangers, 4 game series to remind you, he still has yet to, you know, be on the Astros lineup, be on the roster, and all that type of stuff. And I saw this on Twitter today, and it does kind of make you think. And not to mention, too, we didn't get to mention this. A team spokesperson for the Astros, Alvarez, declined to
Mhm.
have any interviews throughout them
Yeah,
4 days, and including the one in Houston too. So, what makes you want to think like almost like last year with Kyle Tucker? You remember with that Kyle Tucker
yeah.
with
I
his
was about to
leg,
mention that.
and Houston really kept it under the rug for a good while. He was on the injured list for 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, with what was it, a fracture?
Yeah,
So I understand why fans are kind of like, well, what's going on? And of course, we don't have the straight details of the diagnosis of his hand. It could be some soreness, it could be some swelling, it could be, we don't know. The only one that knows is Yordan Alvarez, and of course, inside the team. But it does make you think, like, is it something a little bit more serious than it is?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, on the field, I mean, like we didn't see Jordan Alvarez get hit in the hand or anything like that. It's like with Kyle Tucker, it's like he fouled, I think, two foul balls in the shin, and then him gunning it out. But if it's just a minor pain, like I will say this: these athletes, it's a 160 game series, and they do play with aches and pains towards the end, but they tough it out.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is a case where Jordan Alvarez could just play through it. It'll get better with time, or it's just really affecting him now. Because I think if it wasn't a serious injury, then again he can play through it, right? It'll just go away because realistically, you make contact with the ball. What maybe you get average 4 at bats a game with fouling off pitches, getting a hit. Like you probably make ball to bat contact maybe 10 times or less than 10 times in a game.
But I will say this: for a lefty, it's his bottom hand, and that bottom hand is you're swinging through the
Yeah,
zone and inside. You're pulling your hands in basically.
yeah,
And this is
that is true.
probably I will say that one's you're probably your strongest one than your top hand when you're a lefty.
Hmm. I mean, you could be right because I'm thinking like if it's effective, like when the butt vibrates or like when he makes that contact, is that when it's the pain or it's just just him gripping the butt? I know like he's been doing that. We know he's been hitting in the cages just by reports we've been telling, but it's just a lot of uncertainty here. Like I'm not gonna say it's serious and anticipated just because he's hitting in the cages now, so I think he's close to coming back. I think with Kyle Tucker is he was in a boot, or not a boot, but he was just like staying off, not running, not doing anything for a very long time.
Hmm.
Now, but the fact that he's hitting in the cage, it's a good sign, I guess you can say.
Hmm.
But I think if you're an Astros fan, you're like wondering, it's like, is it serious or not? Just because I mean, he, I'm sure if he can play through it, he would. But at the end of the day, this is early in the season still. I guess you're really Astros. You're paying this guy a lot of money to be, to be in the lineup for the majority of the season. So I guess you do want him feeling better. But I think maybe the weekend series against the Mariners. I think that's when he can be back.
That's why I think so too. But that's what my point is as well. Is like Houston, the Astros fan base has seen this last year, and they're kind of thinking the same thing now with Alvarez. That Joe said that he's getting closer. It's almost time, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like we just want to make sure it completely goes away. And as of right now, it looks like a recovery kind of thing with his hand. It's not like when he's hitting in the cage. It's kind of like how it responds after he hits the ball. Like, is
Mhm.
it painful? Is it like on the scale 1 to 10, 10 being the most pain? I mean, how are you feeling kind of thing. But like you make a good point. I mean, he's hitting in the cage. I think it's just more of a recovery thing. And if you're the Astros organization, you don't want to rush him because it's you still got a long way to go through this whole
Yeah.
season. You do not want to jump the curb. And Joe makes a good point to Chandler. If he feels something again, we have to restart the whole process. It has to go all back from square one. But they want to make sure it completely goes away, so then that won't have to happen. And that's my thing for the Astros is like you're honestly doing a good job without Alvarez in this lineup.
Yeah.
Alvarez was batting a buck something in the lineup. I don't know if it was because of the injury and how his hand was being affected, but Houston has done a really decent job without Alvarez in the lineup. I'm not saying that Alvarez is not the player that he was before. Of course he is. He still is. He's still one of the most elite hitters in this game. But if you're Houston, you do not want to rush him back because it could get more serious. Next thing you know, it might need surgery. I mean, at the end of the day, I think for the Astros, yes, for the fan base at least, yes, you do want to know a little bit more context over this injury. But at the same time, too, you got to be patient. You can't rush something like this because, like I said, if you rush it and something more severe, more seriously happens, then it's going to hurt your chances of trying to get to the postseason, especially the way the standings are as of right now in the AL West.
Yeah, I think for now there's really no sense of urgency for the Astros, just because, like you said, they are playing well without Yordan Alvarez in the lineup, and that just starts with guys like Jake Myers, Jeremy Pena being able to take the reins off
Yeah,
a little bit because Jose Altuve can't do everything. Isaac Reyes can't do everything. Christian Walker can't do everything, right? And it's hard to replace a guy like Jordan Alvarez. Like it's like one of those things where you lose a running back. Like in football, you have to take two guys to replace that one guy when it's a star player. So too, same thing here. Jordan Alvarez is your guy. It's gonna take not just one person to step up, but two, three, four hitters to make a difference in his lineup and the fact that that's going on with it too. So again, I don't think there's a sense of urgency. I'm sure the Astros would like Jordan Alvarez back, yesterday than rather than tomorrow. But like we said earlier, it's a long season. I'm sure they're gonna take their time just because that is a star player, and just this lineup is a lot better with Jordan Alvarez in there than without. So it's
Let's
they
just
want
say
it,
this. Let's just say this though. You would want 100% healthy
of course,
Jordan Alvarez than a 90% Alvarez.
yeah, of course. Although a 90% Jordan Alvarez is still a threat, by all
I
means,
mean, it is
right?
a
But
threat, but my
yeah,
point is like if you want to put
I
him at
got you.
90%, he can go out there and still produce, but you would rather have him at 100%.
Of course, because again, it's a marathon on a spread. That was a big thing we talked about last year too.
Mhm.
Now, whereas if you do have him play through it, and by playoff time it just gets a lot worse, you're losing him in those crucial moments of the game. Whereas
Exactly.
if you don't have him early on in the season and you're still winning, like okay, so be it. You deal with it. You fix your lineup the way it's going to be to get the best run producers up there, and just hold the fort until Jordan Alvarez comes back.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest blow for the Astros is Hayden Wesneski. This is one of the guys they got for Kyle Tucker, who was expected to play a big role in the Astros rotation. In this per Brian Tiger, Joe Espada said Hayden Wesneski will have Tommy John surgery. any of the right-hander seats. I think that's not the news any Astros fans wanted to hear, but I think that's kind of uh we said last week that I didn't want to touch too much on it because
Yeah.
we didn't have the right information now, but now that we do, we're gonna talk about it. I think this is a big devastating blow for Astros fans, for the Astros as well, just because pitching comes at a premium, and right now they're relying on what one, two, maybe three
3, 4
rookies
rookies.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, to kind of replace Hayden Wesneski in this, like, in his rotation, and it's unfortunate for him. This is what he had to say about it. He said, and I quote, "I still don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. I'm kind of in denial a little bit. I think it will hit me pretty hard soon. There's obviously issues, we need to fix them. You know, back then, whenever you hear pitcher getting Tommy John, it's like bad news, but now it's just part of the game, and better surgeries, better, medicine there. I'm sure he's gonna come out stronger. The good thing is the Astros still have Hayden Wesneski for a few more years. Now, the other thing is every pitcher's different, right? We've seen Justin Verlander come back from Tommy John surgery pitching probably faster than what he did the previous years. But then you have guys like Luis Garcia who have had setbacks, guys like Lance McCullers who have had setbacks when it comes to these surgeries. So, I mean, I guess if you're not sure, like you're hoping for the best with Wisniewski, you're hoping for a quick recovery to help you next year when he is healthy. But now you got, I don't know if you saw the Apple TV graphic. You had JP
Yeah.
France hurt,
Yeah.
Hayden Wesneski,
Man.
Spencer Rigetti, Christian Javier. It's just blow after blow. And I think I know you're gonna ask me in a little bit, do the Astros hit the free agent market or trade for another pitcher? And I still think no, not yet. It depends on Spencer Rigetti. If Spencer Rigetti, is not ready for like quite a while, then I think they do explore options. But to make a big splash trade, I don't think so. Maybe they do find someone who just got dropped to waivers or anything like that. Just kind of work with what they got for right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna trade for anybody. And if they do trade, it'll probably be for like a 3, 4, 5 back end kind of guy in that
Mhm.
rotation. You got to remind yourself too. You have Christian Javier on his return coming back from Tommy John surgery, and that was another thing I was going to mention. I mean, Houston has been getting bit by this Tommy John surgery bug for the past couple seasons now. Christian Javier getting Tommy John, Jose Urquidy getting Tommy John. We can even go back to when um, Justin Verlander needed Tommy John, Lance McCullers Jr. needed, like, the list goes on and on. And it's unfortunate for Houston to go through this. And we've always talked about, like, you need pitching. You're not gonna need enough of it. You're gonna need pitching regardless. Even if it's a guy that's gonna eat up innings, which, not to mention too, the Orioles did just put out, um if it was not DFA, Kyle Gibson from the Orioles. That could be a guy that Houston can maybe look at. Yeah, he hasn't had a really good start to this season so far, but I mean, look at the pitchers that the Astros have gone off waivers, and they've done a really good job developing them. Even though Kyle Gibson is a veteran, I think that's a guy that Houston could really have in their rotation just to eat up some innings. And he's not a bad pitcher; he's a decent pitcher. But for Houston, if you want to go the other route, you're going to rely on Colton Gordon, you're going to rely on Ryan Gusto, and you're going to rely on AJ Blueball. And then there's nothing wrong with that because I think all three of them already had made their first career starts this season. They've all pitched at least one major league game. They already know what it takes to be at the big league level. And you've heard their responses after the game, like Blue Ball, for instance. He wants to be back and he wants to come, better than ever. Colin Gordon, I'm pretty sure in this second start against Tampa Bay, like I said, I'm expecting a good start for him because just being in that first start of your career, all that jitters, all that adrenaline going in, you're antsy on the mound. You want to pitch a really good game for your team, and obviously with your friends and family being there as well. So them are my two options for Houston. It is a huge loss for them to lose Hayden Wesneski. I feel bad for Wesneski too. This is a hometown kid. This guy that wanted to pitch for the Astros, and he got excited when he got traded to his hometown team. And now he's going to have to be on the bench this season. And more than likely next season for at least the first bit of it to recover well. Like you said, I mean, there has been some setbacks with some of the players, but if everything goes well for Wisniewski, then he will be able to bounce it back. But as of right now for Houston, them are my options. Either you rely on Ryan Gusto, Colin Gordon, and AJ Blueball until Christian Javier returns, or potentially you can go get a guy like Kyle Gibson that just got DFA'd by the Orioles. And like I said, maybe a second home for him would help him better. And maybe it'll help Houston too get a guy that could eat some innings and could give you 5 innings that have been through the experience, has gone through, playing a bunch of years in MLB.
Yeah. And the Astros did claim right-handed pitcher Chase Alexander off waivers from the Athletics. Instead of AAA, I don't think he's going to be a replacement for Hayden Wesneski or doing that. Is more like a bullpen piece. So,
Yeah.
could be, the Astros look at Kyle Gibson. He was just based on waivers today. So, I think it goes down the list. If nobody claims it before he reaches the Astros, the Astros might have a chance. I'm sure they, I'm sure that they're intrigued about it. I'm sure they're weighing their options, see if it works best for them or not. But another pitcher for us, Whitley, continued to rehab uh, last night for AAA Sugarland. He did toss a perfect inning in relief with 2 strikeouts. He tossed 10 pitches, 9 for strikes in that outing. So they might get a little bit of help in that bullpen in fourth way.
Yeah, don't think he's gonna come back and try to be a starter to
No, I
replace
don't think so.
Wisniewski. Don't think that, please. Do not think
Yeah,
that. I think he's really good in a reliever role. Honestly, he's done a really good job from them times from being in spring training and then even getting a little couple of innings in the bullpen for Houston. But yeah, man, back to just a little bit to touch on that Wisniewski thing. Seeing that graphic from Apple TV, it just shows Houston. Houston literally has two rotations. They have 8 starting pitchers, and not having Christian Javier, not having JP France, Luis Garcia, um, Spencer Getty right now. Of course, we don't have no new information about him. It's unfortunate for Houston to see what's next for them and what they can do for their rotation because honestly, right now, Framber Valdez pitching well, Hunter Brown's pitching well. You could put in Ronel Blanco as well. And honestly, that's it. McCullers is still coming back from his injury and from that setback, and now you got a spot open in the back end of that rotation in the 5 spot. So
yeah. I think right now it's just a 1-2 punch. You include Ronald Blanco in there. I guess you can have 3 legit starters. Now, I think when Lance McCullers, I know he's coming back, like you said, but I think the Astros are going to be needing a little bit more of him
mhm.
uh, for the rest of the
Honestly, I wouldn't
season.
even say a little more. I think a lot more because
Yeah,
how long can Ronel Blanco be this consistent on the mound, giving you good quality starts? How consistently can that happen through? He's going to
yeah,
have one bad start here and there.
of
Framber
course.
Valdez is going to have a bad start here and there. So I think it's more for at least for me for McCullers for the next couple starts for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to need at least 5 innings from him. Uh, I think from now to the rest of the season, at least 5, just because it's not going to be sustainable especially now in this 17-game stretch for Lance McCullers to throw 3 and 2/3, 2 and 2, 2 innings, 3 innings. I think they're hoping for 5, but I think the Astros are put in a tough place where his pitch count's still going to matter, right? I don't
Mhm.
think they're going to want him to throw 100 pitches every outing when he's just coming
Right.
back, getting a feel for pitches, but I think he just needs to be efficient there. Just limit the walks. Try to get easy, no no high leverage innings there, just to kind of put that pitching staff on his back, especially that outer end, just to give the rookie some room to make their mistakes. It's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. Like the Astros don't have a Paul Skeens type of pitcher where he can just come in and dominate, right? So
Mhm.
these pitchers are rookies. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna, you know, leave a pitch out over the plate. But if they don't have the pressure, it was like, oh man, well the guy in front of me just threw 2 innings. I need to go deep in this game. That's when in baseball you start thinking a lot, thinking about what you need to do. Sometimes it's just the opposite just happens. Like when you're a hitter up there, you go, oh, I'm gonna get a hit. I'm gonna get, like you're not gonna get a hit, just thinking like that. So same thing with the pitchers, right? So I think those rookies have some, good, okay, I don't have to pitch perfect because I know Hunter Brown's got my back. I know, uh, Framber Valdez, I know National Cutters got my back, stuff like that. So I think just it, getting a lot more from National Cutters will go a long way for the Astros.
Yeah, and just to add on real quick, you got a stud bullpen as of right now. A stellar bullpen is pitching really good for Houston. One of the best in Major League Baseball as of right now. Get 5 innings. You get 5 innings, you pass the baton to the next guy. It's just like hitting. It's like in the batting order. For starters, all they have to do is pass the baton to the next guy, and the same goes for the relievers. Pass the one. Stephen O'Curr has done, and I've read the list already earlier. O'Curr has done a fabulous job. King has done a fabulous job. Brian Abreu and Josh Hader. Caleb Port, he's still a good pitcher. Ben Souza has looked really good. He did get taxed, not taxed, but he did get really, hit well off of in this series against Texas, but he's had a good season so far. Forrest Whitley's coming back from injury. So you have a good bullpen to pass the baton to the next guy. If you could get 5 innings of, let's say, 1-2, like almost a quality start, 1, 2, 3 earned runs, you're still giving your team a chance for them to put up some runs on the board and possibly either win the game, tie the game, or whatever. But my point is, you got a good bullpen you can, feed off of after a start. In my opinion,
Yeah,
I think McCullers just has to do 5 innings. If he could get to 5 innings, I
yeah,
think Houston's in a good position.
yeah, absolutely. Like right now, Josh Hader has a 1.89 ERA, Brian Abreu 1.42, Brian King 1.40, Steven Colt 1.23. The only way that's sustainable is if you don't have an overworked bullpen, and it starts with the starting
Exactly.
pitchers. It
Exactly.
starts with starting pitchers. Like you have to go like do your best to get through five because you saw with Brian Abreu a little bit last year. He pitched like towards the end of the season. You saw he was a little gas out there. He threw, I think, the most relief innings out of anyone in the American League. And towards the end, he was a little shaky just because, again, overworked, right? So the fact that it's a really good thing that the Astros have four great relief pitchers right now that are pitching phenomenal. We don't have to rely on Brian Brady too much because Brian can get that seventh inning, right? Or you don't have to worry about Brian Brady this time because Stephen Court can take care of it. So but again, that only happens if the starters can do their job, pitch 5, 6 innings, and leave this open with enough rest days in between where by the end of the season they're not hurting, aching, and the velocity gets down and stuff like that. That's when they can start getting into trouble.
Yeah, and just to add real quick, it's just not Lance McCullers. It's everybody in the rotation. Framber
Yeah,
Valdez,
absolutely.
Ronel
Ronald
Blanco,
Blanco.
Hunter Brown, if has to do the same thing. So that's what I'm saying. You got a good bullpen, and then you make a good point. If you're a starter, you do not want to go into a game pitching only 2 innings and 3 innings because then you're going to overwork your bullpen. You're going to tax them, and then especially with the Astros on this 17 consecutive game stretch, it's going to hurt them a lot. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting how the Astros play. They say, for example, Gordon goes 2 innings and then TBA, right?
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see. Like I think pressure's on Gordon. I think pressure's on there just because you don't know what's going on. Who's coming after you. I think if he pitches 4 and 2/3, that's a win for the Astros. But I think you're hoping for at least 5, at least if you can.
yeah, it's going to be just a series, and especially for Colton Gordon to set the series opener against the Rays, it's going to be important for him to put a good start up for Houston, and especially not knowing who's going to pitch game 2 on Tuesday, like Angel said, to be announced. More than likely, either it's going to be pregame before game 1 against the Rays, or it'll probably be after the game to see who's going to be that guy to pitch on Tuesday's matchup. However, now we're in almost 20 minutes in the book, so we appreciate y'all taking y'all time out, y'all nights. Get your day started with us. And where you can find us, of course, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, Full Steam Ahead on TikTok, and on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a like. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss none of our videos coming up. Like I said, we do have some content we have to put up. We have been busy as of this past week, so bear with us. Them videos are coming up in a matter of time. And if you do not want to see our beautiful faces and you want to listen to our lovely voices
I
on the
wouldn't you?
way, Huh?
Why wouldn't you not want to see our beautiful
on,
face?
on the way to work, on the way to school, because school is already done for the kiddo. So I know teacher over here is very excited about that.
Oh yeah.
But Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts, we are there. Give us a like, rate, and a review. Give us some feedback. Give us some comments. We really appreciate all of that. But Angel, final thoughts before we finish off.
No, just I mean, I think the Astros are in a good place right now. I think if they can get a good outing for Conan Gordon, they're in a pretty good spot. But uh, I think they're set up in this series to win it.
Yeah, it's a very winnable series, especially when you got your in my opinion, I think Hunter Brown is the ace of this staff, and you got him in the series finale. He's always going to put you in a good spot to win some ball games. So, Colton Gordon starts it off really good, and you leave it on to the guy at the end. It looked like a winnable series for Houston. So,
So
till then, y'all have a great start to y'all work week, school week, all of that. We will give you the recap of this Tampa Bay series and get you ready for another divisional matchup against the Seattle Mariners, the first place Seattle Mariners. It'll be an interesting one to see. But until then, y'all stay safe. Have a great start to y'all week, and we will talk to y'all soon.